Bom dia a todos, bem-vindos à Poesia ao Meio Dia. Em fevereiro, nós celebramos St. Bridget's Day, e esse mês é um mês muito especial, pois estamos celebrando o mês de St. Patrick's Day. Esse mês foi muito cheio de atividades, especialmente porque a cátedra inicia oficialmente as atividades com a presença do ministro Sean Fleming, o embaixador da Irlanda aqui no Brasil, Sean Roy, e o cônsul-geral da Irlanda, Owen Bennis. Eles três estiveram abrindo oficialmente a nossa cátedra no Ireland Corner, nas relações internacionais da USP, também com a presença da professora Margaret Mills Harper, especialista em William Butler Yeats, especialmente também porque estamos celebrando os 100 anos do Prêmio Nobel do Yeats. Ela também ministrou um curso sobre Yeats e a obra tardia dele, e aqui, como sempre, nossa anfitriã, a querida Susan Roy, sempre abre nossas sessões com um poema do Yeats. E eu queria apresentar vocês também a professora Gisele Volkov, que é especialista em poesia irlandesa e também nas interseções da poesia e na tradução, que vai estar aqui presente por ser pesquisadora da cátedra e vai nos acompanhar o ano completo. Eu, antes de passar para a Gisele, gostaria também de mencionar que nesse mês de março foi inaugurada a exposição Irlandeses no Brasil na Biblioteca Nacional do Rio de Janeiro e estará aberta ao público até fim de junho, para poder celebrar também o Bloomsday lá no Rio de Janeiro. Estão todos convidados. Bem-vindos a todos, e aqueles que gostariam de ter um certificado, de ter participado nessa sessão, é só se inscrever no evento 3, que vai aparecer também na sua tela. Os poemas selecionados estão também no site da cátedra. Gisele, bem-vinda.
Muito obrigada, professora Laura, a cátedra, William Butler Yeats, a Susan Roy, que sempre nos dá a alegria da poesia, que é ao meio-dia, nas últimas quartas do mês. É uma honra, uma alegria poder partilhar desse mesmo momento e estar com vocês para o ano. Muito obrigada. Passo a palavra a Susan Roy.
Susan, bem-vinda, então.
Então, bem-vinda a todos e todas. I feel like it's a long time since I last presented. I suppose because, as you said, Laura, February and March are such busy months in the Irish calendar. We had St. Bridget ushering in spring on the first day of February. And since then, we've celebrated International Women's Day and, of course, St. Patrick's Day on March the 17th. I also want to take a minute to tell you about Mother's Day in Ireland, as it's celebrated on the fourth Sunday of Lent, which this day fell on March the 19th. And a lot of people all over the world celebrate Mother's Day in May, but for Irish people, the origin of Mother's Day can be traced back to 16th century. And in this time, it was very common for poor Irish families to send their capable children off to work as helpers or servants to the wealthy people. But during the Lent season, these children were usually given a day off work, the Sunday, the fourth Sunday of Lent, actually to return to the church of their baptism, which was called the Mother Church, and to go to Mass there, and then to visit their parents afterwards, and their mothers especially. And sometimes the children collected flowers on the way to give to their mothers, or sometimes they gave them pre-owned clothes or other little items that may have been given by their employers in the big house. So this practice eventually evolved into the celebration of Mother's Day, and that became a time to honour all our mothers. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but I've included some poems in today's selection to honour all our mothers, both my mum, who's going to be 89 next week, and Sean's mum, whose birthday was on the 27th of March, who sadly is now deceased, but we remember her with great love and affection. I'm back in Ireland. I came back here after a very busy St. Patrick's Day. And here the clocks have sprung forward. And Irish people say there's a grand old stretch in the evenings. That's our way of saying the days are getting longer and that the good weather is coming. I hope you enjoy my selection of poems, and I'll explain a little bit more about each one I've selected as I go along. But as usual, I'm going to start off with our old friend, William Butler Yeats. And I chose this poem, I Am of Ireland, which Yeats wrote in August 1929. And actually, he adapted it from an old Middle English dance song. And it's an Irish woman inviting people to come and dance with her. And I guess it's because St. Patrick's Day is a time of celebration, of song, of dance, of poetry, of our culture, of being Irish. And the lyricism and the musicality of this poem drew me to it. I Am of Ireland by William Butler Yeats. I am of Ireland, and the holy land of Ireland, and time runs on, cried she. Come out of charity, come dance with me in Ireland. One man alone, one solitary man in that outlandish gear, of all that rambled there, had turned his stately head. That is a long way off, and time runs on, he said, and the nights grow rough. I am of Ireland, and the holy land of Ireland, and time runs on, cried she. Come out of charity, and dance with me in Ireland. The fiddlers are all thumbs, or the fiddle string accursed. The drums and the kettle drums and the trumpets all are burst. And the trombone, cried he, the trumpet and trombone, and cocked a malicious eye. But time runs on, runs on. I am of Ireland, and the holy land of Ireland, and time runs on, cried she. Come out of charity, and dance with me in Ireland. My next poem celebrates St. Columcille, who was also one of the Trinity of Ireland's patron saints. And we've mentioned St. Bridget and, of course, St. Patrick. But I chose this poem because St. Patrick's Day is a day when people think of Ireland, maybe wish they were in Ireland, miss their Irishness, especially when they are abroad. And I've often found, like in all my years living overseas, that we celebrate St. Patrick's Day even more when we are abroad than when we are at home. And I think St. Columcille put it really nicely when he wrote this poem and talked about how much he missed Ireland in his self-imposed exile. This is a translation by the great poet Paul Muldoon. The original poem comes from the Irish, circa 1000 BC. Columkill on Exile by Paul Muldoon. It would be such a blast, O Son of God, to be able to scud across the heavy seas to Ireland, to go back to the exquisite plain of Ilorg, back to Benavena, and go back across the Foyle and listen to the swans singing at full tilt as my boat, the dew red, puts into port, with the very seagulls coming out for a ticker tape parade. I sigh constantly to be in Ireland, where I still had some authority, rather than living among foreigners, dejected, dog-tired. A pity, O King of mysteries, I was ever forced off my home turf. A pity I ever got caught up in the Battle of Culdrevna. Isn't it well for Cormac of Durrow to be back there in his cell, listening to the self-same sounds that once lifted my soul? The wind in the elm tree, getting us into the swing, the blackbird's droll lamentation as it claps its wings, the early morning belling of a herd of big bucks, the music of summer edging through woodland from the cuckoo's beaks. The three things I left behind I liked best on earth were Durrow, Derry of the heavenly choirs, and Garton, my place of birth. I so loved being in Ireland, and still rail against being displaced. To hang with Connell in Bangor, Canis in Kilkenny. It would be such a blast. Although we hear greatly about how wonderful Ireland is and what a great inspiration it is to poets and musicians and singers and songwriters, we have a great poet, Patrick Kavanagh, who penned the poem Stony Grey Soil. He came from County Monaghan, the county that my own dad came from. And indeed, were my own dad alive today, he would be celebrating his 100th birthday on Friday. So I've included this, this poem about his native Monaghan for him, as he was specially, he loved Patrick Kavanagh's poetry, and Patrick Kavanagh himself, he identified with him, having grown up, having had the tough life that Patrick Kavanagh said he also had. I think Kavanagh, he's unlike Yeats insofar as that he didn't romanticize the Irish peasantry, and Kavanagh himself, he was a poor Irish farmer, very like my dad's background. They were tenant farmers growing up in Monaghan, and he saw this way of life for what it really was, for this hard, unimaginative world of being a poor farmer during very difficult economic times. But Patrick Kavanagh's point in this poem was that, that world made him the person that he became. So I'll say this for my dad's birthday, which would be on 31st of March. Stony Grey Soil by Patrick Kavanagh. Oh, stony grey soil of Monaghan, the laugh from my love you thieved. You took the gay child of my passion, and gave me your clod conceived. You clogged the feet of my boyhood, and I believed that my stumble had the poise and stride of Apollo, and his voice my thick-tongued mumble. You told me the plough was immortal, O green life-conquering plough. The mandrel stained, your coulter blunted in the smoothly field of my brow. You sang on steaming dunghills a song of cowards brood. You perfumed my clothes with weasel itch. You fed me on swinish food. You flung a ditch on my vision of beauty, love and truth. Oh, stony grey soil of Monaghan, you burgled my bank of youth. Lost the long hours of pleasure, all the women that love young men. Oh, can I still stroke the monster's back or write with an unpoisoned pen his name in these lonely verses, or mention the dark fields where the first gay flight of my lyric got caught in a peasant's prayer? Mullahinza, Drummerill, Black Shanco, wherever I turn I see, in the stony grey soil of Monaghan, dead loves that were born for me. The next poem I've chosen is a celebration of women, a celebration of the role of women in the household, in the lives of their children, in the lives of others. And I especially dedicate it to, as I say, my own mother, to all mothers, to all Irish mothers, to Sean's mother, and I guess I couldn't put it better than Any Woman by Catherine Tynan, who is a celebrated Irish poet. Any Woman by Catherine Tynan. I am the pillars of the house, the keystone of the arch am I. Take me away, and roof and wall would fall to ruin me utterly. I am the fire in the hearth. I am the light of the good sun. I am the heat that warms the earth, which else were colder than a stone. At me the children warm their hands. I am their light of love alive. Without me cold the hearthstone stands, nor could the precious children thrive. I am the twist that holds together the children in its sacred ring. They're not of love, from whom close tether no lost child goes a-wandering. I am the house, from floor to roof. I deck the walls, the board I spread. I spin the curtains, warp and woof, and shake the down to be their bed. I am their wall against all danger, their door against the wind and snow. Thou, whom a woman laid in a manger, take me not till the children grow. I love the way that Catherine Tynan was able to put and express so well the role of mothers and the role that mothers play within the household, and I guess within the lives of everyone right up until this day. Ireland has often been described as Mother Ireland, and in many of our great poems and many of our great works of literature, Mother Ireland has this outstanding role. But I love this poem by Evan Boland, who I think she epitomizes how important it was for women to stand up and to be heard and to be listened to and to be recognized for the amazing, important role they play in the lives of all, both their children, their families, their community, their country. So I'm going to read for you this poem, Mother Ireland, by Evan Boland. At first, I was land. I lay on my back to be fields. And when I turned on my side, I was a hill under freezing stars. I did not see. I was seen. Night and day, words fell on me. Seeds, raindrops, chips of frost. From one of them, I learned my name. I rose up. I remembered it. Now I could tell my story. It was different from the story told about me. And now also it was spring. I could see the wound I had left in the land by leaving it. I travelled west. Once there, I looked with so much love at every field as it unfolded, its rusted wheel and its pram chassis, and at the gorse-bright distances I had been, that they misunderstood me. Come back to us, they said. Trust me, I whispered. Motherhood and the role of women hasn't always been easy in Ireland. And we have gone through in the past 20, 30, 40 years, a very difficult time looking back at our past, and especially at the way mothers have been treated in the past. And it's a source of great shame to us about the way women who bore children in the past have been treated and hidden away and shunned by society and shunned by their family for the sin of carrying a child without being married, without being wed. And Anne-Marie Ní Chomhairle has written a very, very powerful poem about this, about the Mother and Baby Homes Commission of Investigation. And I really like how she takes the action of washing your hands, like our society washed their hands of all that happened to so many of these young girls and women and mothers of the past, right up until the very recent past, and the way that they were treated. So I'm going to read this poem to you. It's called 6 Ways to Wash Your Hands by Anne-Marie Ní Chomhairle. Number 1, Wet hands, apply soap, and rub palm to palm until a white lather forms like the spit and rage of women who, having lain among waves, were dragged back up again by the hair and stripped of their names to pay for the wrongs in their bellies, as they stitched lace, pressed linen sheets, and each week bowed their heads to the postpartum girls, all lined up at the font like a row of roots half pulled out of the earth and still holding on to their young. Number 2. Rub right palm over left dorsum and left palm over right dorsum to ensure the scent of infant leaves your skin. The sour fumes of bottled milk, triangled terry cloth, ice-cold smears of cream. The scent of sin can cling for years, as potent as a bad dream of trade deals, needle pricks, poppies bloomed on the skull. The scent of a child in an unmarked grave may get in beneath your fingernails and cause all sorts of problems in later life. 3. Rub palm to palm, fingers interlaced and around the wrists to erase all trace of fathers. Never mention cuffs, never mention scars. Raise your head against the sky and let the violet clouds overfill your eyes as the names of these men become again unknown as birds. When you see a wing like a realm of thumbed pages fluttering, take this as a sign the fathers are no more. 4. Rub backs of fingers to opposing palm with fingers interlocked and loosen the joints of wards, nurseries, bolted pantries stocked with canisters of warm milk and cheese sold by the yellow quart, as the imagined cream of it dripped from the mouths of hungry, swollen girls. Rub out the halls, statues, sills. Leave only a rusted nail on a cemetery wall. 5. Rotational rubbing of right thumb clasped in left palm and vice versa to disimprint the memory of files. Wash clean the data until days, months, years signed by clammy hands run like slipstreams into a great shaking lake. This means that even should your lips part to release a holy word that will spill out is a wet pulp no one understands. 6. Rotational rubbing, backwards and forwards with clasped fingers of right hand in left palm and vice versa to wear thin the heart lines. Be a sister and repeat the law like a hymn into the sink. Do not commemorate. Do not remunerate. Do not let the wounded woman or her child speak in a bare tongue. Wash in this way and rid your hands of mother, baby, home. Very, very powerful words there, I think, from Anne-Marie Nicheron, who, I guess, puts it all up to us to remember and to make sure that such atrocities never again happen to women. To finish up today, on April the 10th, we will celebrate here in Ireland the 25th anniversary of the signing of the Good Friday Agreement, which was the beginning of peace in Northern Ireland. And celebrating this 25 years of peace, we reflect on the trials and tribulations, but also on the ultimate success of the last 25 years. And I think there's no better way to reflect on this than the words of Seamus Heaney and the wonderful poem that he wrote, The Cure of Troy. And so I will leave you with an excerpt of this poem. And I guess it speaks of the way we can speak about this troubled time in Ireland's history and how we have managed to overcome it. So I hope you enjoyed my poems today and that you will join in the commemorations of the Good Friday Agreement. I'm actually here in Ballina in County Mayo. The whole town is hoping that President Joe Biden will arrive here in April to commemorate the signing of the agreement, and that he will visit here, Ballina, the town of his ancestors. So thank you very much for taking part today. I'm going to finish with the Cure from Troy, and then afterwards we will have a little St. Patrick's Day music from Ireland. So here we go. From The Cure at Troy by Seamus Heaney. Human beings suffer, they torture one another, they get hurt and get hard. No poem or play or song can fully right a wrong inflicted and endured. History says, don't hope on this side of the grave. But then, once in a lifetime, the longed for tidal wave of justice can rise up and hope and history rhyme. So hope for a great sea change on the far side of revenge. Believe that further shore is reachable from here. Believe in miracle and cures and healing wells. Call miracle self-healing, the utter self-revealing double take of feeling. If there's fire on the mountain or lightning and storm, and a God speaks from the sky, that means someone is hearing the outcry and the birth cry of a new life and its term. So I hope that you're going to enjoy our little video today, a wonderful rendition of O Danny Boy. Thank you.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the flowers are falling. 'Tis you, must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed with snow. 'Tis I'll be there in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And I shall hear, though soft your thread above me, and all my grave shall warmer, sweeter be. For you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I